shit. Yeah. Okay, that one's fucked. Hello. Hey, Santa. Hey, Daddy Jojo. Like the name. How is everyone today? So we finished up we finished up Amuro last time. I don't think we touched very much Camille. Hey, Pedro. How's things? We also finished up char dropping Axis and, you know, succeeding. And did we do... I think I did go through and on stream beat it with Amuro. Yeah, I did do it with Amuro. We even, you know, defeated Amon and pushed it back. So now I think we're going to do some Lalah, maybe something else. Hey, Dark Raven, how's things? I'm glad it's, you know, the weekend and it's already almost over, which is sad, but... How's everyone? Oh yeah, I did that I got back up to where it was last week. Titans Amuro, we went and finished that. We did the CCA Amuro as well. I think that was all that needed to get back and... Oops. Oh yeah, and then all of Garma. I didn't finish these two. I don't know if we did it on stream, but I'll do that at some point. Yeah, I'm on there with that essential workerness. Like, I am so tired. Yeah, I've done Titans Amuro already. I need to do Titans Camille. But I'm gonna see if... Is Titans Lalah a thing? Hi, Sucker Punch. Yeah, is Titans Lalah a thing, or am I just misremembering that as being a thing? I need to finish up Lalah anyway.
This is Lalah, launching.
Or I should be using the Elmith, but I clicked on the Zeon instead. Heyo.
I will do what I can.
Well, Lalah is part of the Titans in Amuro's Titans campaign. Yeah, she's one of the Newtype pilots. God, I forgot how much I don't like this Zeon.
Goodbye, you pests.
Oh, hey, Shirako's here.
Who is this?
Yeah. I feel so bad calling out during, like, all this pandemic stuff because I don't want them to think I have it. So, like, because when I broke my leg, or my foot a couple of months back, they made me get a note from my doctor that said I was okay to work when my job is literally stationary. I don't know why, but I had to do that. So if I get sick at all, I'm afraid they'll make me go and call and get my doctor to tell them that it's fine, and then I'll have to pay like $300 for it.
I'm not about to let myself be pulled in by the Earth's gravity well. I'll let the reinforcements take care of the rest.
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine. But if I call in sick for anything, I don't want them to make me have to go to the doctor and pay money to, you know, get told that I'm completely fine and I was just, you know, bullshitting them, basically.
Returning now.
Yeah, if we go over to Amuro, Titan's Amuro anyway. I think it was this one that... Oh no, that one was with Jared. Oh. Yeah, you get backed up by Lalah on a couple of them. Yeah, see? You got Lalah here, and... Rexicon, I literally just started. Like, I did one mission as... I did one mission as Lalah with the Zeon inside the Cubile and regretted it instantly. Sort of. I think, like,
Launching.
it's closer to replacing Rosamia, but yeah.
I will do what I can. I won't let you.
There's a lot of different takes on Zeon winning the war. One of my favorites, though, is called Negative Z. It's from one of the game books way back in the day, where basically at some point Rumble Rawl talks Amuro into joining well, sort of defecting to Zeon. He gets captured by Rumble Rawl, I think, officially. And they end up capturing Jaburo and all that stuff. Everyone on the white base gets executed once they get captured, and then the war ends, and 5 years later, a bunch of people get back together to kind of get revenge. Also, hey, Alfarmore. Yeah, it's like 5 years later, everyone comes back to get revenge after a bunch of Earth Federation remnants have been hiding out on Titan for a little while. Yep, they kill. Well, almost everyone gets killed. Amuro survives, and I believe Kai survives. But yeah, even Sayla gets executed. No, it's not in English, and it's Negative Z, Rise of the Titans. It's a game book from, I believe, 1989 or 1990. If you can find a copy, though, let me know. Because I will pay like $400 for that shit. Like, I've been looking for years. Sayla Sayla being executed, and he knows who Sayla is, for some reason that I don't quite remember, is actually one of the reasons why he goes back and tries to kill Garma. Because he's happy with Haman. Or not Haman, with Lalah at the time. Like, they even have a kid. And then, you know, he just disappears one day and decides instead to go and kill everyone. Including Dozel, which kind of sucks, but oh well. Yeah. Near the end, he's forced to kill Lalah, and eventually Lalah's in kind of a proto-Sazabi. Due to some weirdness, basically, Axis returns, but it's the pro-Zeon Daikon faction in Axis. And they try to remove the Zabi family, so there's kind of a civil war in Zeon. And whoever basically blackmails Lalah into fighting for them. So it becomes Quattro versus Lalah. Which, after the fight, Quattro disappears and rejoins Zeon as Char. Oh, it's basically, it looks exactly like the Sazabi, except for its camo. For reasons that we don't quite understand. But will it ever get a Gunpla is no. this is a third-party product, and like, you know, so old that that Bandai just doesn't care anymore. Yeah, yeah, Sotheby's one of my favorites too. But, what was I gonna say? That's getting Appley back for last stream where he shot me more than the enemies did. Yeah, what else was I talking about? Yeah, so Char ends up coming back to Zeon and fights a three-way battle between Amuro and Camille. Camille, at the time, anyway, is technically working for the Titans. Though he's kind of siding with the AUG at that point. Because after Jared survives, and I don't believe Jared dies, but he saw... Remember, this is all a game book, so he can die. But I don't remember him dying. But that just could have been our game of it. And as far as Jared joining the AUG, I honestly don't think that would ever happen. Like, at all. But if it did happen, I imagine that it would be,
Newtypes shouldn't be destroying each other.
it would have to be somewhere before Mauer getting killed, and if you could somehow make it so that Shirako kills Mauer,
I will do what I can.
I think he might consider joining the AUG just to get back at Shirako.
What's happening? I can't stand this uneasiness.
Yeah, imagine it's kind of like a cross between a tabletop RPG and a choose your own adventure kind of thing. So, like, you read certain pages and certain things happen, and either you roll dice to make decisions, or like you just randomly flip a coin or something. It depends on how the game book's designed. We played it as a tabletop RPG, but we had a really shitty like third-party translation of it from a small game shop in Southern California. The owner, I believe, was spoke Mandarin, so I don't know where the translation came from or if it was even real. That's why I want a copy of the book. Oh, and my favorite mobile suit is the Bow, which is the Neo Zeon Zeta. Also, Amuro is part of the Titans in this one, apparently. Yep. Welcome to my life. I've been looking for that thing for almost 5 years.
My headache. I can keep going. Returning now.
Hey, we got a Psycho Gundam, which we can't use because it's ground only. Gotta love that.
Lalah, launching.
Yeah, I guess there would really be no reason for an AUG if Zeon had won.
I will do what I can. I won't let you. Ready. I won't let you. Yes.
Ah, asshole. So close. Would have been so badass.
Captain's enemy.
But yeah, if I ever find a copy of the book, I plan to scan it and then translate it and all that kind of stuff. I just need a copy first. It is by far one of my favorites. And I've even asked the guy behind Zeonic, who, at least in my opinion, has almost every Gundam book ever made. And he doesn't have a copy either. No, there are no equivalents to these type of games. Technically, the Gundam Versus line evolved from these games, but that's it. Yeah, it's fine.
My head feels heavy, like it's pressed hard against something.
Honestly, if he had survived every assassination attempt, I think the Federation would eventually have ended up invading Side 3, but without mobile suits, Side 3 wouldn't have been able to fight back. Not as well, anyway. And it would have ended a lot quicker, and there'd be a lot less cool stuff about the series. Because, like it or not, Side 3 was a slight against the Federation's way of being. And they wouldn't have let that handle. And without somebody who was preparing for a war, like the zombies were, they would have got crushed easy. Like, their fleet wouldn't have even been there. Is Metabots the one where, like, they could stick parts onto, like... They're like little toys and you could switch the head, body, and legs out? And then they had a really good, like, Game Boy Advance game. Dude, I loved that series when I was a kid and I had no idea what it was called. Because I didn't have, like, a legit version of the Game Boy Advance game. I had one of those carts where the intro screen wouldn't load. So it was just the robot game. Ah, I really hated that. It's always like, hey, side slash.
Returning now.
Hey, we prevented Operation Apollo. We didn't actually have to kill Shirako for that one. We would have got it anyway.
This is Lalah, launching.
Yeah, it's another Game Boy game I need to just play again. Oh god, it's this stage. Oh, we don't have to protect our allies, though. Okay, never mind. Not that bad, then. So the game doesn't recognize that the largest model is in between us, and that we can't phase through it. So, like, they don't know what to do when the enemy's far away. So it's like, oh, they're on the other side of the ship, clearly the closest enemy.
Who is this?
What? I don't get a Psycho Gundam Mark II. Oh. That's because that's Rosamia. That would make sense. I was like, I want a Psycho Gundam. But I only get the one we captured from 4 when we murdered her. My favorite mobile armor would probably be the Absolus. Yeah, Blitzkrieg. I saw a lot of the M Beyond stuff. I didn't get part of the beta though, so I can't tell you how it plays. But I know Tom Asnable on Twitter is really enjoying it, and I watched some of the stuff from him. And then Tofu and I forget what Ryan's name is these days. Said it was really good. I like the Absolus 3 personally. Got a Cubile Mark II from that. Alright then.
This is Lalah, launching.
Was it Maxi Boost On?
I will do what I can.
It's the new Gundam Versus game.
Now, the question is whether or not I actually have what it takes to pilot this mobile suit. Slow.
Yeah, but it's like a port to the PS2 kind of thing. Oh, is it Online Network? That's what it's called? I thought it was literally called On.
He's good. Take this.
4 is best girl in Zeta. I don't care what you guys think, it's true.
Cocky. Slow.
My favorite G-Gen game would be Spirits. It's basically what Genesis was a port of it for the most part. Well, not really a port, but a remaster of it. It's basically the same thing as Genesis was, except for it went all the way to Crossbone. And like everything else was built in, so Hathaway's Flash was there, all that kind of stuff. It came out in 2005 though, so there's no unicorn. Seema is best girl, but 4 is best girl in Zeta. Yeah, the Haro system sucked. But after you figured out how to abuse it, it's not a big deal.
He's good. He's good.
Oh yeah, it did have victory in it, didn't it? I remember that now.
I can keep going.
Hey Crossfire, how's things? Yeah, do you mean Rumble Rawl's girlfriend/wife thing, or do you mean the pink-haired one? They're two entirely different characters.
Turning now.
I still think that, like, online anime convention thing is weird. But then again, it's like, it's better than going to an anime convention right now, so it makes sense.
This is Lalah, launching.
Mm-hmm.
I will do what I can. I'll guide you.
Yeah, this is the one I didn't like, because it's dumb and stupid. The Alexandra one's kind of annoying, but it's not as bad as this one. I don't believe Ghost was out yet when Spirits was on it. I think only the original Crossbone was out at the time. Though I will say,
Turning now.
what Hammond was doing, she was still fighting with Rumble Raw. Rumble Raw was like governor of Africa or something crazy like that. He was doing real well for himself.
This is Lalah launching.
And he may or may not have been an AZUG spy. I personally think he was feeding them information, because you never directly fight him, and he just kind of fucks off if you try to challenge him. So I'm pretty sure he was working with you, and I was just too young and stupid to figure it out. Yeah, he was doing real good for himself. Godzilla, hands down. Psycho Gundam versus Psycho Gundam Mark II versus Godzilla. Godzilla. You can't beat something that gets stronger for getting its ass kicked. Oh, I have a GM2. I was like, wait, why can't I kill this GM2 coming at me?
Well, whatever.
Here they come.
Lilah's in a freaking Gelgoog. What is this world? Like, no, seriously, what's going on? Where did they even get that? Turn A, because, you know, one can literally reduce the Earth to 100 billion years into the past and did it multiple times. No, the Turn A literally could reduce humans to ash. Well, dust. Technically, it's not ash. It didn't just destroy machinery, it destroyed everything. The only reason the Turn A, or the Turn X survived is because it was out in space. Well, and then they buried it underground in the nano cloth. Moonlight Butterfly can also kill people.
Now.
Oh, but what version of Amuro would it be? Because if it's CCA Amuro,
Launching.
probably kick Hamon's ass. Yeah, basically nanomachines.
I will do what I can.
Yeah, if it's Amuro in the new, Hamon has no chance. Like, absolutely zero. Like, Amuro and the Deha would probably get equal chances, because the Cubile, assuming they were in space, and the Deha worked in space. Well, I think now, canon-wise, because of Moon Gundam, it does work in space.
What's wrong?
Does Kira die, or does Kira ascend to the future plane, similar to how Lalah and Amuro did?
Sensing pressure.
Newtypes shouldn't be destroying each other.
Oh, Titan's Camille is here.
What is it?
So Camille becomes a doctor on the moon, and the Federation actually tries to hire him to help fight Char during CCA, but he flat out tells them that he's done with war. And him and Fa get married on the moon, and she's his nurse, and they may or may not be having a kid. There's implications at the end of Last Sun that Fa might be pregnant, but we don't know for sure. Haman stays on Axis the whole time, but there was never an influx of zombie supporters on Axis, so her father never dies. Yeah. Gonna name our son Sue. Yeah, so there's never an influx of zombie supporters, so the Maharaja faction, or the pro-Zeon faction, or Zeon Daikon faction, stays in power on Axis, and eventually they raise up an army and invade the Earth sphere also. Probably the exact same as, you know, when Lalah got it. They probably wouldn't use it or not know how, because the Turn A isn't really controlled by Newtypes. I mean, if Lalah was more willing to kill, he would be one of the strongest Mobile Suit or Gundam protagonists ever. But he didn't, and that was his thing. Yeah, also possibly a bad pilot, but we're not quite sure.
What are you doing?
I mean, I don't think Camille would name his... I think Camille would actually try to name his son, like, the most masculine thing he could. And so the kid would get made fun of for something else.
What are you doing?
Like, I strongly consider that Camille would name his kid, like, Tadakatsu or something, like, way out of date and way weird. Yep, they, during the second third of the story, Axis starts heading back towards the Earth sphere, and eventually there's a three-way battle between the Titans, Zeon, and then the Zeon remnants, or, the Axis group. Axis eventually gets taken down, and Zeon kind of absorbs their remnants, and then the AZUG comes in to clean up the mess. Yeah, basically. I'm trying naming him like Andrew Jackson or like Whitlow. But Andrew Jackson really did that because people would make fun of his wife for various things that were completely untrue, to the point where she either killed herself or got sick, and he blamed their deaths on the reporters. And he went and tried to duel all of them. And he did. And he killed like 3 of them. It was pretty insane. We don't actually know if Newtype powers are inherited through birth or not. It's implied, but we don't know for sure. Because it's never been confirmed. That was in High Streamers. He gets Beltorchica pregnant. And that's the whole, like, thing of it is, the only reason the Axis operation works is because the kid helps him. But that's not canon. I don't know. Honestly, I can't decide whether I would go for fantasy Gundam series, kind of like Escaflowne, or like colonization era Gundam series. So like they have faster than light travel and have been colonizing multiple planets and stuff.
What are you doing?
I honestly can't tell you. I have ideas for both of them, but I would also be weird and try to make it so that the Gundam doesn't get introduced till halfway through the series. Yeah. Oh, dude, I have no idea what it would be called. I'm very usually with names and stuff like that, I come up with them after I got a concept down. Yeah. Yeah, I knew that would be coming.
This battle is lost.
For the longest time, there was a joke that the Barzam might have a beam cannon there, but it's actually just a thruster. Weird.
I will do what I can.
The ultimate endorse or the ultimate promotion just named the Gundam after car brands. It's like, oh, the Nissan just crushed the Mitsubishi Gundam. That's the Gundam Bronco. Nobody likes the Gundam Bronco.
Who cares as long as it doesn't hit us?
Yeah, the Pinto. The Pinto is basically the Zeta of the series. Like, it's fine up until it touches something and then it explodes.
I'll collect you, you damn grown-up! I won't let you!
Did they ever find out what was making the Pintos explode? I know it was when they got rear-ended, but I forget what was actually causing it. Yeah. You know, the rich evil guy has a Rolls Royce Gundam.
He's good.
Ah, okay, that makes sense. But yeah, I have to imagine the Volkswagen Gundam would be a Gundam from a mobile suit. Would be a mobile suit from like a long past war. That's just kind of left over, but it still works perfectly fine. Also, hey Vex. And like the newer versions of the Volkswagen are just kind of garbage. And you know, Ford recently decided that it's going to stop its mobile suit production and only start making mobile armors. Which, I mean, their mobile armors were the best ones anyway, so it makes sense. But it's still kind of a little bit weird.
Returning.
No, the Tesla wouldn't be a Gundam. It would be like a Buku, or like it would be shaped like an animal or something. Hey Rexus, how is things?
Newtypes shouldn't be destroying each other.
Yeah, but we're gonna destroy each other. But yeah, so the Tesla would be like dog shaped or something like that.
I will do what I can. One more.
No, this is the storyline where Zeon most people in Zeon survive the 1 year war, and Zeon invades later. So we're kind of fighting a combination of the AUG and the Titans. It's a bit weird. But basically there's no reason for the Titans in this one. or no reason for the Titans to be considered evil. Oh yeah. Then you have the Model T Gundam where it's like, you know, just barely hanging on, doing anything. But God, was it good back in the day. Best power loader you could ever get.
Don't get cocky. Slow.
I won't let you. I won't let you.
Oh, we were joking around about car brands being mobile suits. It's like a world where car brands are mobile suits, so... You know, you have like the Ford Gundam, or you have the Ford mobile suit, and the Mini Cooper, and all that kind of stuff. Oh my... Someone's cat's freaking the fuck out. Yeah, no, Stardust would never have happened in this one. That being said, the Titans would probably still be there, because Stardust was convenient for Jamatov. It wasn't his only plan.
Slow. He's good.
Yes. Returning now.
What system's it for, Crossfire?
This is Lalah. Launch.
Oh, good job. I honestly, I've only beat Overworld once or twice,
I'll have to fight
just
for you.
because like it's so long and a lot of it ends up dragging on near the end.
I won't let you. One more.
Oh yeah, if it's a PS2 game, that's fine. No, Jemitov was kind of the one responsible for Operation Stardust. Well, Crowley was responsible for it, but Jemitov was responsible for it falling apart. Him, Bask, and Colony, Gene Colony, got together and kind of caused the SEMA portion of it. And they were going to deflect the colony drop to not land on the planet and look like big damn heroes, but instead they failed to do that, and they pushed it more as a militant branch than they did as like a political, like, we saved the day kind of thing. But they weren't expecting Gato and Ko to happen. So who would have thought that, you know, the Zeon remnants would have a mobile armor lying around that they had no data on at all.
What are you doing?
Oh, I recorded 45 this morning. So 44 is the current one right now. I had some stuff happen yesterday and I couldn't do any recording.
He's good. You! What are you doing? You!
Captain's enemy. There. He's hit. There.
Good. Take that! You must be joking.
You. Captain's enemy.
You! He's good. He's good. You! Not yet.
I need my Jimmy Bean Gundam.
Slow. You're finished. Not yet. Not yet. Fire.
Then there's the Mai Tai Gundam, where everyone recreates them, but they're never quite good because they don't understand the point of a Mai Tai.
Returning now.
Alright. Final stage for Lalah. I think this is the Amuro Shirako one.
I'll have to fight on my own. The captain's enemy.
My favorite series in 5 words or less, Gundams need car alarms.
It's all over if they fire at the Titan fleet! Now where's the core? Is that it? Damn, Shirako!
Or better, what is a lock? Never heard of it. Ah, that's 6. Damn.
Chosen the wrong path. You failed to become a true Newtype, Char. A mongrel like you must be told. Understand? Not yet. This isn't done yet.
Yeah, the GNX was a surprisingly good suit. And I really wish there was like a side series about, you know, just GNX pilots trying to hunt down celestial being. Yeah, I'm probably gonna end up losing this one. Because Char isn't distracting Amuro. Yeah. Oh, you're talking about the mobile suit that's the half Zeta, right? Basically, that was a prototype Zeta that couldn't really transform. And it was kind of, it's from one of the side mangas. It honestly doesn't really do anything.
Keep going.
Hey, so think about it this way. A nuke gets stolen, and they still refuse to put locks on their mobile suits. Quite literally, a third of their fleet gets destroyed because no one put a lock on their mobile suit. And they didn't after that.
Returning now.
After Operation Stardust, the first thing they should have done was start putting locks on everything. So with Lalah and Char together, their Newtype residents changed the world, and most people became Newtypes, except for not really. Alright, I'm gonna take a quick break real quick. I need to use the bathroom. So I'll be back in about 5 minutes, maybe? Alright, I'm back. Alright, so... Do we... No. No Titans, Lalah. Oh wait, that's the Federation. Yeah. Oh well. Do we want to do more of Titans Camille, or should we go finish up like Quattro, who we haven't done almost anything for, or, you know, should Appley survive? Should we finish up Roberto? Anything versus the Absolus 2, the Absolus 2 will lose because the Absolus 2 has no guns. It's completely unarmored. Or unarmed. It was just for the Minovsky flight system test. No, the original Absolus was armed. As weird as that is, they didn't arm the second one, because that was just a test to deploy it.
Camille unit, let's do it!
The Group Air Tetra was the GPL-4, or the fourth in the GP line, which was used in Stardust. Basically, it filled a similar niche to the Gundam 01 full burn-in, so eventually it discontinued the development. It was supposed to be more of a sniper type role, though. A fast sniper. It's kind of weird. Eventually, the remains of it would get sold by Anaheim to some Zeon remnants under Lalah, who were planning on dropping a colony on the planet, and eventually get traded to SEMA for the support of her fleet and her 36 highly advanced, highly trained mobile suit pilots.
You won't do any more damage!
I finally found you, you alien thieves.
Lieutenant!
Sense their hostility, even through the power of a mobile suit.
The locks in 00 actually required Veda to say who it was. So you could actually trick Veda into thinking you were someone you weren't, and it would open up. So they're better than UC locks, but still. Still a little janky.
Alert! There's something about this guy. Is the enemy a Newtype?
Above! Good move! Damn you!
I won't lose!
You!
I won't let you!
No, in 00F they talk about it. Basically, it relies on Veda matching what you're saying against its database. So if you change the database, anyone can use the Gundam. They aren't biolocks at all.
This is what it means to be an old you.
Oh my god! Amuro! Quit boosting to the side as I go to
Be
attack!
a Newtype.
You lost.
Yeah, the prototype Mark II was the mobile suit that Zero stole from the Murasame organization when he defects to the other side. Generally, the canon side would be the AUG, but that we don't know if it's actually canon or not.
It started.
But it's kind of like the Mark II, except for a little bit... It's a lot more powerful, but the armor is weaker, and it's slower. So, while it's cool to have, you generally replace it with the Mark II, because by the time you get Zero, you already have the Mark II.
You!
Technically, I lost to Amuro. The GM2 managed to kill me, but 90% of that damage came from Amuro. And mostly that was just me being pissed off at Amuro.
You won't do any more damage!
I finally found you, you alien thieves.
Lieutenant!
Of course.
Their hostility, even through the armor of a mobile suit.
I know that!
Close range beam shots are like the bane of my existence.
I'll get you. Not yet. Faster.
Stay alert! There's something about this guy. Is the enemy a Newtype?
The F-91 was yellow? You mean red? Because the reason it was red was because it was going at such a high speed that the paint that it was painted with was burning off and leaving after images. I don't remember it being yellow, but it might have been yellow.
It's good. Good move.
But yeah, you can't win a fight against Patrick because Patrick survives.
You're finished. I'll get you. Damn you.
I gotcha!
This isn't a game. Damn you. You got my you. Be strong. I'll get you. Damn it. What?
Wait, are we playing TF2 now?
You're slow.
So I'll probably play Engineer and just sit in the corner.
Take that. Damn it. You. Got in my way. You're finished. Take that. Take that. Got in my way. This isn't a game.
I killed Lalah.
Lieutenant,
Incredible! He must be a Newtype.
what was that sensation?
Don't forget that feeling. You got what it takes to become a real soldier. With a bit.
It had a biosensor. It didn't need to deal with gravity. Gravity's fine.
Camille here, I'm returning. Camille be done, let's do it!
Bio Gundam? Oh, oops, you guys can see my mouse.
Something's calling. Who is it?
Don't know which one the Bio Gundam is.
Feels like... Focus! Don't forget where we are, or the gravity will grab hold of you. This isn't the time and place for a fight. You have a point there. All mobile suits.
Oh, Ollie, all day. Rao isn't really a good pilot. He's just good at fucking with your opponent's mind during the fight.
You won't do any more damage. Out of my way. Then you. Away.
Really, you couldn't do basic damage to this Nemo?
There's no time. It's too dangerous. He'll finish me if I deploy my Valyute. Please run. Don't worry about me, or we'll both be. This is nothing.
Is the Bio Gundam the one from Slave Tyrant? That's the only one I can think of actually being on Jupiter.
We're gonna burn to death.
Like the ones with the Mersai Raptor.
It's gonna pass too close to me.
Oh, okay, so it's the Slave Tyrant. Yeah, I remember that one. Well, the sword is the Slave Tyrant, I should say. Because, you know, this is a shonen manga that we name our swords in.
Come close to me.
But yeah, that was a Federation task force or well, AUZ sympathizer Federation task force sent to Jupiter to stop some of Shirako's weirder inventions, which include mobile suit-sized raptors built out of the Masala built as the predecessor to the Masala frame.
Camille here, I'm returning.
Trans Am beats the PX system like hands down. The PX system is like shitty 0 at best.
Camille be done, let's do it.
Yeah, I didn't know that was called the Bio Gundam. God, that's a dumb name for it.
It started.
The Heavy Gundam Origin was a version of the Heavy Gundams based off the Origin manga. Instead of being, you know, just a theoretical concept, it was just a heavily armored Heavy Gundam. The difference between the normal one and the Origins one is in Origins, they built 200 Gundams, versus the original where they had like 13 at most. Which, being part of Origins allows you to have many, many more Gundams. So that's why a lot of Gundams come out of Origins.
What's going on? He's strong. Here they come.
And I would say Trans Am, just because while NTD is nice, it just increases the power of Newtypes. It doesn't actually do all the crazy stuff. It's the Psycho Frame that allowed the Newtypes to do crazy shit. But then Trans Am allows you to teleport, even if you don't have the teleportation system. So, yeah. Does Trans Am, after they release Trans Am, require you to be an innovator? Because I know it did before, but after they released it and like all the GNXs got it and everything, they couldn't have all been innovators. That'd be crazy. Perfect Gundam is from the I forget the correct term for it, but for the original Gunpla manga. It was built by the main character. It was a combination of the gun tank, gun cannon, and the Gundam. It's very popular in, like, Gundam Breaker and... God damn it. It's very popular in, like, Gundam Breaker and the Battle On games and everything.
Camille unit, let's do it. How many are there?
I mean, it really matters. If it's one of the shittier Trans Am equipped mobile suits, then the Age could probably win and then develop a way to defeat it. But on a first battle, probably the Trans Am mobile suit.
Don't get in my way.
Yeah. I really need to just not shoot him and let him have problems with that Nemo and no HP.
What's going on? You're finished. Don't get in the air.
The Goblin was a modification of the Marasai from one of the side mangas. I forget the name. I know the main character is named after an abolitionist from the South during the 1860s, John Brown. But it was basically a less complex version of the Marasai with heavier armor developed for Neo Zeon remnants to use on the planet during the kind of failed planet operations during CCA that no one ever talks about. Eventually they would be abandoned when that group decided to go back into space and get absolutely murdered. But at the time they were very useful, and there's a side reference that they might have got picked up by some rebels afterwards and used for a couple of years, but we don't know if that's true or not. It was just kind of mentioned in one of the author's notes. But it was for a series that never really happened, so... Operation Buren?
I won't die here.
Hmm. Oh, Zaku versus Leo is Zaku, hands down. Leos can use beam weapons, but they blow up when you know, sneeze at them wrong.
Damn you! Damn you! Damn you! Come up, you wouldn't have stopped it.
Knight Gundam beats Captain Gundam all the time. Captain Gundam's actually pretty shit. Zero was the more important one in the series.
Why'd you get in my way? Camille here, I'm returning.
Oh, that's what the manga is called. That makes sense. Okay. Like, trying to remember what Operation Buren was. It's like, it's just what the manga's called. That makes sense.
Camille be done, let's do it! How many are there?
Yeah, I would have to say flag as well.
Just burn everything.
For a second there, I thought you were talking about the Arios, so I was like, how is that a fair comparison? But Ares, not Arios.
No way!
And as far as the Hyzak was a mobile suit developed by Anaheim using mostly Zeon engineers who were coerced to join from Zeonic, and by coerced I mean forced. And it was developed to look like Zeon remnant forces in case they had to do false flags or anything like that. But it was mainly used by the Titans. The Earth Federation did have some of them, but they weren't as well used, and eventually did get taken by the Federation. Or by the Titans. A lot of them would actually survive the war and get either disbanded and sold to random rebels or, you know, private individuals, or they would join with Neo Zeon. Honestly, I think Moon Gundam's gonna get an anime. It is way too freaking popular as compared to like Walpurgis. Like, no one cares about Walpurgis. That's just the isekai of Gundams, but... Though I did hear that Walpurgis is actually getting another chapter soon, which surprises me greatly, because I thought that was already dead. But if any... After Hathaway's Flash, if Hathaway's Flash does well enough, I think Moon Gundam's gonna get an anime. Or at least an OVA. Yeah, Walpurgis. Yeah, it's the other manga that came out at the same time that Moon Gundam did. It's about a kid who's very good at an isekai, or that a MMO that's like piloting a mobile suit. Except for you find out in the first chapter that in fact he is a clone of Shirako, even though Shirako died 3 years beforehand, and he's like 15. And then he gets picked up by somebody who's pretending to be Haman, who may or may not be Haman, who's also in love with Shirako. Ironically, I'm not making any of that up. That does happen. And eventually they go through this long line of like the Titans trying to use him as like a figurehead similar to Full Frontal to recreate the Titans and take independence. And then it got canceled for like, it didn't get a new chapter for like 3 years. Yeah, I told you, it's the isekai of Gundam. Like, it's legitimately an isekai. I think Zeonic translated the first few chapters. I don't remember if that was him or not, though. We don't know if it's actually Hamon or not, but I think it's a clone. The junior mobile suit is actually the production mobile suit. It's for use like civilians for carrying stuff and that kind of junk. It can be converted to be used in combat, but generally they're really shit, and they're only good at taking out like infantry, not other mobile suits. Camille is in fact trained pilot for the Junior Gundam, and he actually got an award for it, or the Junior Mobile Suit. He got an award for it, and that's one of the things the Titans were looking at when he was younger. So Night Gundam's like 9 feet tall. So if you mean Char as a person, I think you would win, but I don't see a human fighting a microtized mobile suit as being fair. Oh. Alright, yeah, the Hyakushiki does have a block, right? It's L2. I forgot about that. Ah.
City. Unless you immediately halt your attack and accept a ceasefire, we shall destroy this city completely. I repeat.
Okay,
Camille here, I'm returning.
Oh hey, we got a Super Gundam. The half cannon, the Zaku half cannon is basically, it has half the sensory range of the normal cannon, except for it can also equip a Gatling gun, which, at least in my case, Gatling guns never really work on mobile suits, but that's my opinion. As far as the head, it's a... Oh, okay, this is defending it. I was like, wait, why are we destroying gas canisters? The head was that, like, wannabe samurai mobile suit from 00, right? It was basically developed as a in-between using the GN Tau drive. It was one of the first to fully utilize the GN Tau drive as it was, but it was specialized in melee combat for fighting the Exia, and it more or less worked, if I remember correctly. It led to the Susanoo, which was really good, so it wasn't a bad thing.
We can't accept their surrender. This war will never end unless we show everybody what can happen to them if they decide to defy the Titans.
Oh yeah, Mr. Bushido was season 2, wasn't it? I don't know why, but I always think that's the end of season 1, and then, like, Graham not being an idiot was season 2.
Particles were too dense. All communications were blocked. That's what happened.
Yes, sir.
Their sacrifice will save millions of other lives. They can't fail.
So the CCA Yagen and the F91 Yagen are the exact same thing. That was the problem with the Yagen. Those are 30 years apart, and they did nothing. I mean, all the SD versus full-size Gundam questions are going to result in it's going to be highly situational and probably not a satisfying answer. Because do you think an SD could survive the full damage of a beam rifle? If your answer is yes, then the SD will probably survive. If your answer is no, then no, they won't. Now, most of my streams are always like, you know, mostly versus questions and other random factoids for random series. Why should the Federation improve mobile suits? They don't need them anymore. They're in an era of peace. They've been at peace for 30 years. Why should they develop more weapons, spending a good portion of their GDP, and take that money away from social services or helping build new colonies, allowing people to live better? Because this war that you think is going to happen? It makes sense.
Unit, let's do it! It started.
Yeah. It's the kind of thing that's like, you don't want mobile suit development. We want mobile suit development, but the Federation doesn't. And the the Gaza L and the Gaza R are basically upgraded Galbaldis that only have melee weapons for some reason. So, if you like the Galbaldi, you like the Gazu, possibly. I don't know why those are their own models and they didn't just make, like, a Galbaldi Theta. But, I mean, like, to each their own. You got a stick that pokes things. Good luck. Oh, hey, Emma's here. The Grau's the upgraded one from Moon Gundam, right? That's the one where we haven't actually seen it yet. I'm only on Volume 4, though. They might show up in Volume 5. Oh my god. So when I target the other guy, I go zooming off towards the Gundam. When I target the Gundam, I start just randomly swinging instead of dashing forward. What the heck? I mean, they can use beam rifles, but they don't. They were holding them, but they never fired with them. But then again, I'm also the kind of person that every mobile suit should have a gun and a shield, because it just makes sense.
Camille here, I'm returning.
Well, Alformo, the thing is how much of the GDP should be given towards fighting something that they don't want to happen? How warring should they be against themselves? How much do the civilians think they should pay to possibly hunt ghosts? All that money is all that money that they waste is being poured into the military-industrial complex and does nothing for the people. So how much should they waste? And the Gaimulk was a prototype Newtype mobile suit. that was eventually used by Chara and incredibly freaking dangerous. It's also the thing that, like, makes the Haru system in Spirits easy, is you can get something like 60k points in one attack with a level 50 Peru in the Guy Malk. It's kind of crazy.
You're not getting away.
So they should spend a couple of enough money to fully construct like 6 colonies to fight somebody who doesn't exist for something that happened in the past.
To know about myself. Is that so wrong? I hate being
So, you know, 60 million people should go without homes or living in slum-like conditions for no reason. I guess those 60 million people will be happy knowing that they'll be protected if anything ever happens.
Please answer me, Boar!
Yeah,
like snakes are slithering around inside my head.
Boar, stop! Don't fight!
aw, damn it, I wanted to kill Quattro. But then Nemo had to try to kill me, and so I killed it.
Camille here, I'm returning.
There are beam cannons called Gut Busters? That's funny. I didn't know that was a thing, actually.
Done, let's do it! It started.
Yeah, it's... And how much of the money are you going to put towards actually supporting the military versus expanding the military? Remember, development is like the expensive part of the military. You already did most of the investment on the military, you just have to pay like payroll and maintenance. I believe America right now puts about 15% of their money towards the GDP. The average country puts about 1 to 2%. Except for China, which is like 7% or something like that. And then North Korea is like less than 1%, but if we go by the numbers of North Korea, it's something like 300%. So that is what it is. Oh my god, just die. Oh god, cats! Come here, cats! I gotta show you something. Also, this GM pilot's doing better than you already, cats. As I usually say, this GM pilot deserves a promotion. Like, that guy is good. Oops. Cats died. Now everyone, remember Q on sync, and the party will be tonight. The reason I don't like cats is because they made me use the G Defensor to actually kill someone in this game. I actually had to do it too because Emma was a complete failure. But I have completed the cat storyline and he survived the war.
I will die here.
Take that! If you hadn't come up, you would have died. here, I'm returning.
The Zissa is probably one of my favorite suits because of Garen's greed. They are the missile death of the world, and they literally carry any Axis campaign.
Let's do it.
So much damage, so far range. They're so good.
There's no time.
What are you doing? We won't last much longer.
Also, I'd have Cats any day over Kess.
Out of my way.
Kess needs therapy. So the reason why Sayla was gone is because the voice actress got really popular after Gundam. So she was recording a movie during the thing of Zeta. She wanted to be part of it, actually, but because of the movie, she couldn't. And then during Double Zeta, she went on Safari, and no one ever told her that they were doing Double Zeta. So she was on vacation through most of it. That's why she came back at the very end. And in Japan, you can't really change voice actors at the time. You can now because a lot of the common voice actors are starting to die due to them being really old. So it's less of a stigmatic issue, but in the 80s, you couldn't do that. A series would get bombarded if you switched a generic voice actor. It's not a thing in America. We don't care. Well, we complain about it, but we don't really care. Oh my god. Quit boosting away, you asshole.
In the game. Camille here, I'm returning.
The Shuram Gallus was an upgraded version of the Gallus to employ melee weapons. It kind of went as best as you'd think. It wasn't all that great.
Camille unit, let's do it. Something's calling me. Who is it?
Mm-hmm.
It's all over if they fire at the Titan fleet. Now where's the core? Is that it?
Yeah,
Why did you get in my way?
God, what was it? Sailor Moon, one of the series was getting protested because the little brother's voice changed, and he had 2 lines. 2. And it wasn't in anything as less oh, hi, Usagi. Or, I forget her real name. I'm not a big Sailor Moon fan. But, people legitimately wouldn't watch it because a 2-bit character had a different voice for 30 seconds. In this game? So a lot of the side characters, why they're not included, we don't really know. It's just kind of weird. Maybe they didn't want to include her? So, you can make the Black Tri-Stars survive the war, right? They don't have a continuation campaign. Rumble Rawl does, but they don't. They should. Or, Sarah and Rekua, who are also very important characters to the story, don't. It's just weirdness. Oh, yeah, that could be it too. Because I think this game came out in 2004, didn't it?
Camille here, I'm
Or
returning.
maybe it was 2003 in Japan. Wow, wait, we got the O? Sweet.
Camille be done. Let's do it.
Honestly, I don't think much would happen if Banana met Amuro. Though, if he did, he would be kind of surprised because Amuro's dead.
How many are there? any more damage. Damn you!
So the thing about the O in this game is really cool is it's one of the few suits
It'll mean
that can
real
block.
trouble later.
And blocking in this game is like amazing. So you can block. Blocking doesn't just block melee attacks. It blocks guns, explosives, anything you want it to block.
What?
Damn it, you killed my Hammurabi friend who was going to stunlock you. So I'm just gonna sit here and shoot you while you try to hit me. While your friend hits me in the back.
I have to kill them. Why don't they understand that? What do you want me to do?
The GM3 is way better than the Nemo. The GM2 is on par with the Nemo, and the GM3 was heads above that. And the Aegon was better than the GM3. And they came out within, like, months of each other. Well, days if you go by CCA. Come on, I would really like to block instead of just spinning around. Oh my god.
Why do you kill people so easily? Die! I'm not an enemy, I'm an ally! I got you!
I hate these solar panels.
Above!
CRX. Come on, retarget. Yeah, take that, Barzam.
I'm gonna die here. We lost.
Honestly, Camille might have reached the power that he surpassed them, but he didn't care at that point.
Camille unit, let's do it!
Amuro doesn't get the Zeta in Moon Gundam. He uses a Deha. The Deha custom or something like that.
You got in my way!
Unless that happens in, like, the chapter that came out last week. I haven't got that one yet.
You won't do any more damage!
Yeah.
Damn you! If we don't take him out now, it'll mean real trouble later.
I wish he would use the Zeta.
Other people like
I like the
you,
Zeta.
they never end. I'll get you! Grab it! It's good. Not yet!
The Zeta, the Amuro custom Zeta has been a thing for years. But, so the Zeta versus the Zaku 3 is a massively unbalanced argument at any case. The Zuda F is just an upgraded Zuda that uses Gion parts, so it doesn't explode when it goes too fast. It's still a one-year war mobile suit. Putting it up against the Zaku 3 is like, you know, putting a Zaku up against the Zaku 1 against the GM3. Like, it's not fair. Thanks, random Hammurabi. God damn you, you stupid GM. Yeah.
Damn you! Why did you get in my way?
Yeah, or for like a real life situation, that's like a World War I tank against a modern like M1 Abrams. Wait. So the mobile suit versus the improved version of the mobile suit.
From above?
I mean, whoever gets their salvo off first.
Not yet. He's good. He's strong.
I mean, even Rakukan in the standard GM3 or Zaku 3 would be better
Strong. Hit him.
than the Zeta.
Not yet.
Oh god damn.
Kill people so easily. Die! Got in my way. Meal here. I'm returning.
For the if the Gundam MMO is real, I would be Fat Char. Fat Char is my favorite character. I would be the king of Chin. But yay, Camille survived. The Titans control the Earth sphere. So that was the Titans Camille story. Sadly, Lalah Titans doesn't exist, which sucks. The Gallus J versus the Gallus F, I'd have to give it to the Gallus S. Because the Gallus J is kind of garbage. Like, it doesn't really have a loadout. It just has a gun for a hand. Mary Mustard, fuck ketchup. I don't know what C is, but I'm gonna go with kill as being mayonnaise. Hey, I mean, if you give Girian's translator enough money, he'll probably make you a code to unlock Fat Char. I think that's how he does it. I've never asked, to be honest. So, should we go do Quattro? Should we do Roberto or Appley? Should we do someone else? Alright, see you, Braxis.
Don't laugh, Shar. The men are watching.
I don't think there'll ever be another Garen's Greed. Just like hands down. Shin Garen's Greed lost them so much money that I don't think they would invest in another one. Yeah, we can always dream. I would love one either that had CC or double O in it. CE, I meant. Or double O in it. That'd be pretty cool. Or even if it was only UC. I would love one that just had all the side stories from the 1 Year War and was only focused about that. I know Gustav plays it a lot and talks about it, but I haven't played it much. The Hearts of Iron mod or the Gundam Hearts of Iron mod. Also, welcome back, Sucker Punch. This is 79. This is the Garma invading Jaburo mission. I'm finishing up some of the Garma story. Yeah, this is the 1 year war. They will use gun cannons in the Jaburo attack, though. Yeah, I like CE because you could have, like, you know, 6 factions all going at the same time, and it could be true to canon. Whereas with, like, Double O, you could have maybe 3. 4 if you count Celestial Being, which would be interesting. The Rebound would win because it's a Newtype suit. But I always found that the issue with Gihren's Greed was there wasn't an, like, if you could have multiple sides going against each other, it'd be a lot more fun than just, you know, one side going against another.
All hands launching.
And none of Garma's mobile suits are in this game at all. He uses all the Char ones.
Garma unit launch.
Zeon can fight on for 10 more years.
The Trojan horse will surely be destroyed.
Yeah. Because right now, how Gihren's Greed kind of works is it's the player versus 2 people. But if there were, like, 6 people, it'd be the player versus a faction while, you know, the player, another one of the players, or another one of the AIs versus the AI, and you could swap in there and grab victory like Axis does. Instead of it being, oh, Axis pushes against the Titans, and then the AUG comes in and ambushes you. Like, that's no fun.
I'm going to put Shah in this place.
Oh my god. Damn it, Amuro. Quit running around this pillar. Yes, Mikuve, we're losing ground because you keep chasing around the freaking pillar. I mean, the problem with including the South Seas Alliance into the game is the Federation would be able to crush them if they were a separate faction, or if they were part of the Federation, they'd be too powerful. Like, a mini campaign with Thunderbolt stuff would be interesting, but the Seven Seas only really worked because they couldn't muster the full might of the Federation against it. Like, they might have a dozen or so mobile suits, but the Federation has hundreds to thousands. So including it as a faction would probably turn into a bad idea unless you made them really powerful. I mean, Zeon does have a Gundam. Look up the Z1. They captured a Gundam and it took like literally 20 ground Gundams, ground GMs and normal GMs to take it out. It was insane. Alright, TFX. Yeah, but in the earlier Gihren's Greed games, it was never really a 3-way battle between the 3. It was always the player versus the Titans, with the AUG just pushing in to annoy the player. They never really had the Titans and the AUG fight each other. I did win with the Dalaz fleet. I also won with, you know, Kycelia Zeon and Char Zeon and Garma Zeon. And then I almost went with the Titan Zeon, but that game got corrupted and everything went to Spanish for some reason. It was weird. Yeah, all of the extra campaigns are three-way battles, but it almost always goes to a fight between between the player and then another faction, with the third faction just attacking you when you're weak. You could create a faction of only women in 2. I want to say that was Blood of Zeon, but I could be wrong. Yeah, so my PS2 corrupted, the one I used to use to record, and for some reason all the menus are in Spanish now, and even if I change it into English, it goes back to Spanish. I have no idea why. Which is fine, because I do read enough Spanish to know what the buttons mean, but it's just kind of weird. And like, all my saved games just wouldn't open. If I tried to mess with them, they would just say they're corrupt. One day I'll learn Spanish, just not now. And probably once I leave, or once I don't plan on moving back to California. Well, so if you had... Wow, Ryu's still alive. Weird. If you had it the Federation versus the South Sea Alliance and you could play the South Sea, I would understand that. But making just a faction that is the South Sea would be too easy or too breaking for it to make sense. Like, if the campaign was literally the Federation versus the South Sea Alliance, and you played as the South Sea Alliance, that'd be fine. Like, I'd have no problems with that. That'd be interesting. Especially if there was, like, decisions to mind control people and stuff. It'd be like Yuri's Revenge. It would be amazing. But, like, just having it as a faction would be weird. Yeah, both sides do have a Gundam. But if both sides had a Gundam, you'd get basically something like Seed, where the Gundams would end up killing each other, and halfway through, the Zeon Gundam pilot would eventually get a better Gundam, while the Federation pilot would get, like, a G3, based off of what he had captured from the Gundam and the what Zeon Gundam had done and what the main Gundam had done. Like, there are a ton of storylines in Gundam that follow that exact path. He's talking about my Girin's Greed campaign where I won as Dalaz. It's kind of three-way between the Federation, the Titans, and you, but the Federation and the Titans never fight each other. And I had such fun things like capturing the plans for the Gundam and giving everyone Gundams for some reason. And then near the end, like, I used the nuclear laser beams like every battle. It was great. Yeah, the Gundam is, or the Gelgoog is basically a Gundam with worse armor. Oh, dude, a Turn A Girin's Greed would be amazing. Like, so instead of production centers, right? You don't get production centers. You capture mount cycles, and every turn you have a random chance of digging something up. Which it could be really good, or it could be really bad, depending on your tech level. But every turn you have a chance of building up more troops. So you don't have to worry about paying for units, but you have to hold and defend the mount cycles till you get something good. Like, that would be badass, wouldn't it? So, like, you know, Lusitania, if you controlled the one in there, you'd have a chance of getting Bajornans. But if you didn't have the tech for Bajornans, you'd be digging them up, but really slow. Instead, you'd be getting, like, Capools. Oh, yeah. Oh, dude, in my Neo Zeon campaign, I actually did get the Char Gundam, and the Char Gundam is kind of garbage. Like, it's much worse than the normal Gundam. I used them the whole time, though. It was kind of fun. Also, Mikuve got killed in one hit. And not by Amuro this time, that was me. Whereas this one, the Zaku boy is doing just fine. Yes, they did well, for SD Gundam, they mass-produced the Psycho Gundam. That did, in fact, happen. Well, the Moonlight Butterfly doesn't instantly go over the whole solar system. If the Turn A goes crazy, it does. But I imagine that would just be a map attack that would damage everyone around you, similar to how the nukes work. Also, Ground Gundam on Texas Colony. 10 out of 10. Mass-producing the Zeon was my worst decision ever. The Gelgu fit my playstyle so much better. But I did it, at least once. Yep. That Zaku bro was so much better, though he is dead now. But it'll be marked down that he was better than Mikuve. As with the Frycook, who accidentally burned himself in the sink, was better than Mikuve. I'm still mad. In my Dallas Fleet campaign, I stole the Action Zaku, so I couldn't upgrade my Zaku Kai, or my... They call him Zaku Kai in the game, but the Zaku 2 FZ. I wasn't able to upgrade it into the Hyzak, which annoys me so much, even to this day. Yeah, I think,
Karma unit returning to base.
a Gundam X one would be awesome, but I think they'd have to do so much world building they wouldn't want to do it. Because there's no world map for Gundam X.
The men are watching.
They don't even know what that world looks like. You can make the...
Karma unit lost.
So, the Zaku FZ, or the Zaku Kai in Girin's Greed, can be upgraded into the Action Zaku, and then the Action Zaku into the Hyzak. But I stole the plans for the Action Zaku, so instead of it being the standard tech tree version of the Action Zaku, I got the stolen version of the Action Zaku. And because I already had the Action Zaku, I couldn't redevelop it again. So I wasn't able... Instead of having the Action Zaku, I had the stolen version of it, so I couldn't upgrade my FZs into the stolen version of the Action Zaku. Because I had the standard plans for the FZ. So I was never able to upgrade them into Hyzaks.
Gundam, please hang on.
This is the storyline where we saved Mikuve. We're also Garma fighting on Aboaku. So, that's not the weirdest thing. That's why I've been making fun of Mikuve this whole time. Because, you know, he died in one hit in the last stage. And he's still dying in almost one hit. Even though that's a level 4 Zeon. That is a max level Zeon, sir. You should not be having this much problems. Hey, Crossfire, if you ever want, I will outline the setting I had for my MS Saga campaign. You might like it, you might not, but it was a lot of fun. Like, Eisengrad was a completely imperialistic power that everyone hated. There's people, the Russians who got displaced across the Bering Strait were showing up in North America that was run by the Redcoats. And then Quebec was trying to declare independence from the Redcoats for some reason. Mostly because they followed Alexander Crawley for reasons that no one wants to know. No, the AIs don't use upgrades. I'm just making fun of Mikuve. Oh yeah, if this game had gotten an official PC release, it would be pretty badass. Hell, if they Unreal Engined a game like this, there would be so many mods, like, so many storyline fixes, it would be amazing. Hell, I would even, you know, be making my own. But I don't think that'll happen. If it does, though, we are getting my negative Z storyline.
All right, Karma unit returning to base.
Gamma had survived the fierce conflict, but Zeon had been defeated. The one-year war was over. The zombie name vanishes the page of history, till 7 years later, a new inheritor of Zeon appears. This is the end of Gamma's battle. Hey, we unlocked the Trojan horse pursuit route for Makuve. Yay. As far as making mods, I used to make mods for Hearts of Iron 3. I was the one behind it. I don't know if you ever played it, but there was Extreme Science,
Launching.
which was just a common special unit mod for Hearts of Iron 3. Like, the Americans and the British got super soldiers, the Russians got clones, the Japanese got giant robots.
Come if you dare.
Stuff like that.
I don't want to be laughed at for my promotion because of my father's influence.
But that was like, what, 2008-ish, I think? Yeah, they were like super heavy tanks, but they didn't require all the resources for super heavy tanks. Oh, and I never got it working right. It would always be super glitchy, but the Japanese also got the Type 50, which, if you don't know what that is, that's a sub that could it was a sub that had a spot for one aircraft, so you could nuclear bomb like anywhere in the world as long as you had a sub. It was really broken and really fun to do.
Go got it. Be prepared for your punishment.
But yeah, I by all the people who played it, I made the Russians really annoying because all they would do is spam clone troops because clones are so cheap. In Hearts of Iron 3,
Right on schedule.
the super heavies were really good. They were just like way too slow.
Charming sound.
Did he just la-ding me? He just freaking la-dinged me. Damn it. Yeah, thinking back on that mod, I really needed to find something better for the Americans. Like, super soldiers were cool and everything, but not that cool. Like, I should have had, like, Eagle Cavalry. You have dudes on giant, genetically engineered eagles.
Gundam, please hang on. Not yet.
Make psychers. Yes, Americans need psychers. Confirmed. Well, the thing with giving them nuke spam is they already have nuke spam. Like, America has so much territory that people generally can't touch, so they can make hundreds of reactors and get hundreds of nukes. So, like, near the end of the game in any of the Hearts of Iron games, if you declare war on a country, within the minute you get air superiority, you nuke every city they have. Just every single one. Power armor. Oh, that would've been great. Like, you get Fallout power armor. Genetically... Not super soldiers, genetically engineered queens. Like, you just clone the queen a couple hundred times. Well, Japan already had giant robots. Yeah, they got Ultraman.
Right on schedule.
So, we got about 5 missions left with Makuve.
Charming sound.
I just got a lot dinged again. What is with today?
I'm going to put charm in this place. Come if you dare.
Need to actually like start writing out some of the IBO stuff. It's almost done. Oh yeah, don't we need to beat like Amuro before destroying the big tray or something like that? Was that this one or was that the other one? I forget. Garma does not have any custom mobile suits in this game. Like, zero. So, he uses all the char suits.
Right on schedule.
Oh, no, okay, we didn't have to kill Amuro in that one. That was... Oh, okay, that was for Garma. I was misremembering that massively.
Charming sound.
Mobile command centers? You don't have radios in UC, so... You kind of have to have the forces, or the command structure close to the battlefield. Because of Minovsky particles, most radios don't get more than 100 feet or so. And if there's combat in the area, you don't even get 100 feet. So they use them mostly as mobile command centers and resupply points. Yeah. At one point, I was thinking about making a Unity version of Girin's Grade, where one of the options for the Federation would be to completely ignore mobile suit development and instead, like, try suicide trucks and stuff. So you would drive trucks full of nukes into the enemy. Or like he would load down a saberfish with a couple of nukes and just ram it into the target. I thought that would be a thing. It'd be stupid controversial, but it would be fun. Well, if you paint the unicorn 3 times faster, it goes 3 times faster. But you don't paint it red. You have to paint it salmon pink using battery acid. It's the rule. Yeah, I also had an idea of where instead of developing your own mobile suits as the Federation, you steal Zeon designs and improve them. So you get what amounts to striker packs for the Zaku. Like, you have beam rifles and long-range missile sets for the Zaku. And eventually, like, once the AI develops the Gauf, like, you get striker packs for the Gauf and a space-type Gauf and stuff like that. Crossfire, if you ignore Project Z, or Project V, Temray on turn 12 will introduce it, and you'll begin it anyway. You actually technically begin it quicker, but because you've gone 12 turns in, Zeon will be more advanced than you. Once he introduces the Gundam plan, he gets the Gundam within 2 turns, which technically you should be getting that at turn 13 anyway. So, depending on how you play it, you can actually get it a bit faster that way. Yeah. Yeah, there used to be a pro strat where instead of investing in Project Z, you would do, or Project V, you would do that, and then you would jump up 5 tech levels because of it. So you'd actually save, I think it's like 140,000 money and resources by not doing it, but you have to get really good at cheesing the AI. Hey, I'll have you know, my first attack on Solomon is usually just a single, or is a usual saberfish. And then my usual first attack on Odessa is just a tank that 2 turns later retreats.
Zeon can fight on for 10 more years. The Trojan horse will surely be destroyed.
Hey, the plan of throwing Heat Hawks at the enemy was genius. And I fully expect in the Hyzax throwing heat axes at people, I really hope that's going to be a thing in the Zeta portion of the story. Yeah, if you move to the escape point, which is that weird square thing, option 4 is retreat. Yeah, I'm really trying to get AMAC to do a Zeon Scum 2 story, just because I want to see how that goes. Though the current arc is 10 out of 10. I love it.
Not yet.
Come here, Amuro. Ah, yeah. Remember that time where Amuro got defeated at Jaburo? I do. Especially by Makuve and the Gion. The maxed out, max level Gion. A full frontal is a legit clone of Char. Yeah. But actually, Zeon didn't actually dump everything into Char. They actually didn't dump enough into Char. If you invest in either Rumble Raw or Char during the Africa campaign, you can actually capture the white base in Garen's Grade. We're having a duel, and then that other GM just interrupted it.
It's a tricky game of strategy.
Yeah, Chibi Act guy was really cool. Hey, we got a Gelgoog. We got one of them normal Gelgoogs.
Charming sound. Come if you dare. Karma unit launch.
Karma's in a Gion too.
As a man, I have to prove myself.
Karma has learned. Oh yeah, the Gion can also do this. But I don't use it very often. The Poke of Death. Ah. Ah, damn it. Wow. Garma really wants to punish me. I didn't think Makuve was his type. I remember Treasure Planet. I read the book originally. Also, I remember the Disney movie that wasn't very... Well, it was better. Better than it could be, but it wasn't the greatest. Yep, in this storyline, Ryu survives. And he He does get to fork me good. Also, Ryu survived in the 1-year war in this game. So did Slager, weirdly. Because I killed Big Zom with the G-Fighter. That was fun.
You're dead.
I don't know what the next Gundam game I'm going to play is. I really don't. I was thinking maybe either the Age game or maybe like could play the Age game, could play Encounters in Space, could play Dynasty Warriors Gundam. I don't know. There's so much to play, so much I want to play. But I only really get time to stream once or twice now a week.
I don't believe in Newtypes.
Oh, dude, if I could get War on Earth to work on my computer, I would. I can't get it to play without lagging real bad on a VM, but I do have a Windows 95 VM. Yeah, they both have, the Zeon and the Galgook have cannon variants. There's only one Gundam game on the PS Vita, and it's not very good. It's basically the seed version of the Gundam Battle Universe. It's like Battle Universe Attack or something like that. And the maps are too big, and the gameplay's very boring. I do own a copy, though. The only thing is my PS Vita, or my PS TV anyway, my friend John's borrowing it. He was streaming Persona 4 a while back, and he just hasn't given it back to me yet. I think he wants to do 3, though, so I'll let him do that. I don't mind watching. Yeah, maybe I'll do a poll. That might work. Though, if I do a poll, Dynasty Warriors Gundam's gonna win. Yeah, I remember Gundam Abridged. I'm very, very sad that Gutted Ren lost so many hard drives and then just kind of quit and got real jobs, but I remember it. It was really good. But sadly, it's one of those things that's probably never going to come back, so. Oh, Battle Assault 3 never came out in Japan? I mean, I could. I have an actual, like, hard copy of Battle Assault 3.
Charming sound. Come if you dare. Anxious? No, I'm under control. If you only use brute force, they'll beat you. What?
Yeah, I spent a lot of time collecting every Gundam game ever made.
I am a son of the zombie family, and I will go down in blood.
I think the PlayStation Store on PS3 is still there. I haven't looked at it in a while, but I'm pretty sure it is. You can still buy PS3 games on the store. And the online 51 versus 51 is Gundam, what was it, Gundam Battle Online? I played that for a good long time. Especially when the Chinese version came out and they had it was in English. That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. They recently went to include all the series, not just UC. And I think most people quit playing it when they did that because it broke it like super bad. Yeah. That's still weirdly one of my most viewed videos, and people like once a day ask me if it still works. It's like, no. There's a note in the video itself that says that it was discontinued in February of like 2 years ago. You can still buy Reborn. I did it a year back now. But it's still there. Hey. So, I think the new coming out games will be on Western systems. Crossrays was the 19th or 18th most selling game on Steam in November. Like, it did really freaking well. It didn't really... The reception for it wasn't the greatest, but it did well. I would not be surprised if the next one's up there, too. But, like, it's kind of crazy how well it did on Steam. Like, it got beat... That's, like, compared to games like, you know, Call of Duty, The Witcher, all those kind of games. And it still got 18th. Yeah. I would love, like, a Battletech game, too. That would be pretty cool. But then again, even if it wasn't on PC, I'd still play it. People keep bringing that up. It's like, yeah, New Gundam Breaker was bad, but Japan thought so, too. It wasn't the West that got the shitty New Gundam Breaker. Everyone got it. And I don't think we're going to get another one, but... But woo, McCuve survives the 1 year war. They will probably never reboot the Dynasty Warriors Gundam games. If it's true, Koei or Toei or whoever the hell makes those games kind of pulled Bandai out on the coals over those games, and Bandai was not happy about it one bit. There was some trouble in between the studios, and Bandai basically wanted, like, control of the game and, like, the ability to dictate where it goes and everything. And Toei was like, no. We just paid you for the license, we're making the game. And Bandai didn't like that. The Destroy Gundam's better than the Psycho Gundam, hands down. Bandai, when they make a game, or when they let you make a game, because of something that came out in 1995, they want total control over every aspect of the game.
All right, let's go.
And they want a decision making in like every aspect of the game. And Toei said no.
Let's go.
But they did pay for the license, and the games came out, and multiple games came out. And they're really well regarded. A game called War for Earth. It's the only Gundam game that was made in North America. It's a live-action Gundam game that has nothing to do with Gundam, but Gundam's in it. And Char is a fat white dude. It's all in English if you want to play it. If I could record it, I would. I just haven't been able to find a good way to do it.
This is the end for you.
Yeah, Chin.
Careless.
Hey, the G Savior game on PS2 is good. The movie was dumb, but... I'm completely cool with that rail shooter.
Yes, I don't think that one temperamental pilot will alter the mission. Damn it, you moron!
What is it?
Take that! He's good. Damn. He's good.
You gotta realize something about Bandai. They never change. You want to know why Gundam games are coming back to North America? After, you know, 10 or so, well, at the time, 9 years of not being made in North America? Gundam Breaker 3 was released in Southeast Asia with an English patch. Because Gundam's always popular in Southeast Asia. Like Singapore and those kind of countries. Hong Kong, all them. And their primary language is English. So they released it in English. Well, as it turns out, the North American, or the English version of Gundam Breaker 3 sold out 3 times. And they had to keep reprinting it. The Japanese version of Gundam Breaker 3 did not sell out. The company that was responsible for it is this place called PlayAsia. And as it turns out, PlayAsia flat out told them that they're selling most of their games to North America.
Change the direction of this mission.
The mission was a success.
Are we talking, NT New Gundam or Phoenix? Or are we talking the original Phoenix? Because the G-Self would beat the original Phoenix, but NT Phoenix would win because of bullshit.
All right, let's go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, PlayAsia was where I got mine, and I sold at least 150 copies over it. I have those records. Yeah, the NT Phoenix would win because Newtype fireballs.
You come to push me around. You're the ones who stole all my memories. You die. You. This is the end for you, hypocrite. Die. There.
Die.
This time.
So Gundam Dynasty Warriors probably won't come back because of the disagreement between the company that made the game and owns the copyright and Bandai. Bandai would have to permit them to let it back, and they wouldn't. Also, I don't think Toei would want to because Toei's currently working with Nintendo right now and making an absolute shit ton of money. So I don't think they have a reason to go back to Gundam. But if they wanted to, they could, but I don't think Bandai will ever let them. It's not that they can't, it's that they won't. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they keep the right over, well, they own the game.
Mission was a success.
The IP that they don't own. But both companies has to agree for them to re-release it.
All right, let's go.
Yep. And now if you could get the two companies to agree, we would probably get more, but I really doubt that'll ever happen. Which sucks, but it is what it is. Again, is it NT Phoenix? Because the NT Phoenix would still win, because Newtype fireballs. Remember that the NT Phoenix broke the Neo Zeon. Whereas, like, the original Unicorn would have to overpower that. Using Newtype bullshit. There's a reason why power scales kind of don't work with NT. They made them from being, you know, normal things to being space wizards. Like, legitimately space wizards. Like, they even have Fireball and Eldritch Blast. Though, Eldritch Blast is a Warlock thing, but still.
Don't take me lightly. Careless. You've always been quite the actor.
And what about Crystal Unicorn? Well, it matters. Could the Turn A use the Moonlight Butterfly? Because if it could, then, you know, like 8 seconds. Unless Newtype powers allow it to survive. That's a little bit different that we don't know about yet.
Don't take me lightly.
The Phoenix would probably still win. So the original Unicorn could go Crystal type. The Phoenix probably could too. The Phoenix's pilot is a stronger new type than Banana. Also, yes, it does sound like a strip club.
Don't take me lightly.
So one of the interviews recently with the guy who did the main writer for NT actually said that there was a lot of exposition that they weren't allowed to do in the movie. Which was kind of a problem with the movie, is there was way too much exposition.
You're kidding me. I won't let you get away with that.
Show me the power of the legendary.
Wait, what?
Don't take me lightly.
What are you doing?
You sneaky bastard.
Not yet. Not yet.
The restoration of the zombie family.
Okay, so I have 3 more missions left. I think after I'm finished with this storyline, I'm gonna cut the stream. My throat is kind of falling apart now.
Let's go. You're not getting.
Take this.
You've always been quite the actor.
I'm your ally.
I don't know why the Neo Zeon was in NT. Like, why did Zeon have 2 of those? Why did they build a second one?
I'll burn any.
How did that make sense?
There's no reason to hesitate. Come on. From above. This is the end for you.
Damn it. This is nothing. This is nothing.
Damn that.
Yeah, you know, that's a good point. They built more Neo Zeons than they did Big Zoms.
What are you doing? Don't take me lightly.
This is the end.
They're in a much better position in one of those than the other, too.
You've always been quite the actor.
This is nothing.
Too easy.
You're finished.
You're not getting away.
My favorite AU would probably be X. I really like X. IBO is really good too, but I like post-apocalyptic Gundam the most. And besides that, also MS Saga is one of my favorites. Yeah, yeah.
You sneaky bastard!
This is war!
Oh, happily died.
You stupid fool! Careless.
God damn. I am writing an IBO tabletop though, so kind of skews a couple of things.
You've always been.
I know way too much about IBO at this point.
The mission was a success.
Hey, the Psycho Gundam Mark II. I'm not going to use it because I know it happened last time.
All right, let's go.
I have this thing with O that, like, I've been there. I don't...
Let's go.
I honestly can't see Ali as evil. And, like, I feel sad for Patrick. Like, you're not supposed to be sad for Patrick. But I do.
Don't take me.
Because I know those
You've
feelings.
always been quite the actor. I won't let you.
Like, it's the kind of thing where it's like, yeah, they demonized Ali, so what? Of course they're gonna say that, he's a bad guy. But what does he really think? I can't see him as being that bad.
This is the end
Like,
for you.
yeah, season 1 of Double O is a lot better than 2. 2 got way too preachy.
What is it?
Like, it was interesting, but it really preached on and on.
What are you doing? Don't take me lightly.
Wait, really?
You've always been quite the actor.
Like, that sucks.
Nearly to ashes.
Silence, hypocrite.
Won't let you have your way.
You're not gonna wait. This is the end
Oh.
of you, hypocrite.
I mean, that still sucks. Oh wait, remember there's been no cases in Japan, though. So they can still have the Olympics. Somehow, Japan's been completely immune. So the Olympics are still on.
This is the end for you.
Incredible, he must be a Newtype. Don't take him lightly, Jared. He's not a normal child at all.
Little rat.
I've done... So I did an MS Saga one, I did 2 IBOs, I've done 2 UC games, and I've done I did a one-shot that was CE, or Seed, Cosmic Era. So I think 6 or 7 in total? Something like that?
Take this.
You're not getting away. Don't take me lightly.
Let's see. The IBO tabletop, everyone got arrested because they tried to kill their... Or not the IBO tabletop. The CE tabletop, everyone got arrested because they tried to murder their handler because he called them dirty innovators. Or not innovators, coordinators. And so they tried to kill him, and they got caught, and ended up getting executed. But they were fine with that because it was a one-shot. Let's see, the first IBO game, they were part of kind of WWE on Mars, and we got out, or they escaped the arena and evaded Galahorn, captured like a Graze, or like steps in front of getting a Gundam, and then one of the players had to move away, and then one of the other players got a new job and couldn't play anymore, and the game just kind of fell apart.
The proof of our might will forever be
One of the UC games I was part of, we didn't really like the system, so we ended up moving on to Cyberpunk. And then the other one I was part of, the guy thought the DM was a little bit too hard because we got full party wiped in our first battle and quit. Mainly the guy didn't really like the DM due to some background stuff that I had no idea was going on at the time. I might be doing one soon, like a test game, but I've asked the people who might be playing, and they're not okay with it, so I'm not going to be live streaming them now.
A mongrel like you must be told. Understand? Not yet. This isn't done yet.
You've made a poor choice for the final rescue.
You're here. Come on. What? There.
Careless.
What?
I can still fight.
Not bad.
But, with the MS Saga game, I ended up having to move half across, or I ended up having to do a bunch of stuff for work and move pretty far. So, it just kind of fizzled out. I've been trying to get it back together with some of my friends, but there's there's some bad blood between two of the players, and they don't want to play, they refuse to play games with each other. So, unless I started with an entirely new group, I don't think the MS Saga game is going to go anywhere. Yeah, at some point I have a mostly done video of my IBO campaign, at least, done. I might release that. I don't know how I feel about it, though.
You sneaky bastard. You're not getting away.
This is Char when he was still part of Zeon. Yeah. This isn't Quattro. This is actually Char.
What are you doing? Bye, you pests.
Who cares as long as it doesn't hit us?
Yeah. So I think Lalah is still alive in this one, so I don't think they're together.
Too slow. Not bad. Not bad.
I won't let you.
You're mine.
Careless.
We went over it a little bit earlier, but I would love if they, like, made a bit more of a sci-fi series, like Multiple Planets or FTL or something like that. That'd be pretty cool. Or I'd love, like, a fantasy story, like, you know, they have giant robots, but there's also, like, elves and dwarves and shit, or magic. That'd be pretty cool.
The restoration of the
Thanks to Mon's effort, they escaped the firing of the colony laser. The struggle continues. The war degenerates into a hopeless stalemate. The conflict continues without end. Could the Titans have been defeated? Could the Earth Sphere have been conquered? The outcome of every battle may be able to alter the future. Yeah, Escaflowne. Escaflowne's pretty good. There's, technically Aura Battler Dumbine also. Oh yeah, I forgot. Knights in Magic is the newer one. Escaflowne's from like 20 years ago. Basically, Knights in Magic, the main character really liked the Exia, so when he dies and gets isekai'd, he goes into a world where robots are programmed through English for some reason, and he learns how to program his own giant robot. And eventually, like 30 volumes later, you find out that what amounts to an armored core is buried underground, and he pilots that, and it brings a whole new era of warfare. And then I stopped reading. Hey, we have Haman completely done. We're almost done with Char. We're almost done with Garma. We need to do most of Rumbarol. And we have a bit more with Lalah, which I think is just this little bit here. Once we get that done, we'll actually be done with Zeon, weirdly enough. It's called Knights in Magic. Or Magical Knight. You can find it almost anywhere. Like, it even has an English translation now. Like, an official one. I don't know. I only read the light novels. I don't know where they are in the manga, though. Yeah, so we need to finish up Emma. We need to do 4 Mauer, Yazan, Rosami, Burin, Shirako, Capricorn. Lil and Jared are finished, though. So either next stream we can get done with the AUG, who's only these 3 left to do. Or we can get done with Zeon, who's like Garma, Rumble, Rawl, and Lalah. Or most of both. And then we can tackle the Titans. So I honestly imagine 2 to 3 more streams for this. Maybe I'll do a short one in the middle of the week and we'll finish up. We'll go and finish up the Zeon stuff. It's like, I imagine, what would that be like? Yeah, we need to do this for Rumble Rawl. We did that for Garma already. Or we need to do that for Char as well. Same thing with Char's, like, hunting down the zombie family. Yeah, we have maybe, like, 5 to 10 more missions done with to do with Lalah, and then we'll be done with that. Anyway, though, folks, I hope you all enjoyed this episode. If you did, you should like. If you didn't, you should dislike. We'll be back probably next Sunday with another stream. I'll let you guys all know beforehand if I plan on streaming in the middle of the week, but it'll probably be kind of late at night for anyone. I don't get off work till 7 EST, so that's the only time I can really stream, which kind of sucks. Anyway, though, good night, folks. Oh. And real quick, what was it? Infighter people. Oh.